This 16-year-old boy is dragged by police from his mother's arms and sentenced to life in prison. He was known to be a good kid, from the kind of family you see every day. Cops quickly closed in, convinced this 16-year-old boy from Winnipeg was their man. He's sentenced to life in prison, but the problem is, he's innocent. And worse yet, the real killer is still on the loose, continuing his murderous spree. But nobody knew that one person would never stop believing David was innocent: his mother. She would spend the next 25 years fighting for her son's life, proving his innocence and trying to catch the real killer.
Last March, an anonymous phone tip led Joyce Milgaard to this woman.
It's the early morning of January 31st, 1969. A witness sees a car pull up near a Saskatoon alley in the freezing dark. A few hours later, a 20-year-old nurse named Gail Miller is found lying in the snow, not breathing. When Sergeant Adolf Kuchkowski arrives at the scene, he finds her body frozen, her uniform torn, and the quiet streets stained with blood. Stabbed and left in the snow like she didn't matter. Sergeant Kuchkowski starts looking for clues and finds a trail of footprints, a purse, and blood frozen into the ice. Then, a witness mentions seeing a group of young people in a car nearby, and that lead takes police straight to a teenage boy named David Milgaard. Meanwhile, David is on the road with his friends, just driving through Saskatoon on a birthday trip. Hours later, police swarm them, arresting David and dragging his friends in for questioning. Back in Winnipeg, David's mother keeps calling, trying to reach her son.
Both Cadrain and Wilson said that you had blood on your clothes. Did you?
I had no blood on my clothes.
Both Wilson and John said you had a paring knife. Did you have a paring knife?
I had no paring knife.
Wilson now says he lied at the original trial last month.
I'm doing what I have to do. If they'd done a proper investigation in the first place, none of this would be happening today.
The newspapers are just talking blood, and rape, and everybody's up in the air about it.
Do you think they were just desperate to convict somebody and you happened to be it?
Saskatoon was desperate to convict somebody, and they did convict me.
May 1969. 3 months after the interrogation that David never told his mom about, the doorbell rings. Joyce Milgaard answers. 2 officers are standing on the step. They ask to see her son. She pauses, confused, trying to understand what's happening. David steps into the hallway, calm, polite, just a teenager. Before he can ask why, they're already putting handcuffs on his wrists. Joyce freezes. Then she reaches for him. She wraps her arms around her son as the officers wait at the door. He tells her it's okay, that he didn't do anything. She nods, but her hands are shaking. As they lead him away, she's left standing in the doorway, clutching his jacket, still worried if he'll be cold. January 1970. Less than a year after the murder, David Milgaard's trial begins in Saskatoon. The Crown prosecutor is Serge Kujawa, confident, respected, and determined to secure a conviction. For him, this case isn't just about justice, it's about certainty. He believes David is guilty, and he's ready to prove it at any cost. In court, Kujawa paints David as a violent drifter.
It's an image that's been seen many times in the last 20 years. The image of Gail Miller's body lying in the snow.
He tells the jury that the evidence points one way, straight to Milgaard, and the police, who built their case on shaky witness statements, agree.
Good and competent investigation was carried out by the members of the Saskatoon City Police.
They've already decided who did it, and now they just need the jury to believe it too. When David takes the stand, he tells the truth. He says he didn't kill anyone. He explains the blood on his jacket came from a party the night before, from a broken glass, not a murder, but it doesn't matter. The story has already been written. The jury doesn't believe him. Then the Crown calls its key witnesses, David's own friends. They say he confessed in the car. What the jury doesn't know is that those same friends were terrified, interrogated for hours, pressured to say what police wanted to hear. Their stories kept changing, but the Crown used them anyway. There was no weapon, no fingerprints, no physical evidence of any kind. But the prosecutor and police had their suspect. The verdict comes in, guilty.
You are sentenced to imprisonment for life.
It's a victory for the Crown, but a lifetime lost for David Milgaard, because while the system celebrated a conviction, The real killer was still out there, free.
This is Larry Fisher today. He first went to jail in 1971. He's still here because when he was let out in 1980, he raped and almost killed another woman. Unlike his ex-wife, he says he doesn't remember the morning Gail Miller was killed, not the murder, nor the accusation. It seems strange that a wife would say to her husband, "I think you killed a woman," and yet you don't remember.
No.
Those sorts of things were said every day in your house?
Oh, Christ, everything happened in our house.
In a statement she gave to a private investigator, Linda Fisher says the other thing that makes her suspect her former husband is the fact that Gail Miller was killed with a knife. And did you use knives when you committed those assaults?
Not all of them.
How many of them?
I'd rough it out about 2, maybe 3.
And what kind of knife did you use?
Just about any type I could.
Today, Linda Fisher has vivid memories of the morning of the murder. In the heat of the moment, she accused him of murdering Gail Miller.
I said, "Well, Larry, it was probably you that killed the nurse."
And what was his reaction when you accused him?
He just looked like he was caught.
Did you kill Gail Miller?
No, I did not.
My son has been in prison all these years. You've had the information that exonerated him since 1988.
The Milgaards say while they didn't speak with the minister, they hope the brief meeting will put pressure on Ottawa to speed up its review. Campbell's assistant would say only that review will be completed soon.
There is hope. If not, he will remain in his cell at the mercy of the parole board. Since 1960, there have been hundreds of applications to the minister, but only 14 have been reopened, and in only 6 of those were the charges dropped. The odds are against him, but Milgaard continues to hope. What's the most you're hoping for?
The most I'm hoping for, somebody comes up to me and says, "David, got a phone call, a decision has been made, they've exonerated you, go home." That's the best thing that could happen for me.
By the mid-1980s, David Milgaard had already spent more than a decade behind bars. He was no longer the 16-year-old kid who went in. He was a man shaped by walls, mistrust, and years of silence. Every appeal had failed. Every promise from lawyers or politicians had faded into another season of waiting. Hope, once his mother's fuel, had become his prison's cruelest joke.
2 decades after the same court refused even to hear an appeal. This time, the court will face new evidence and questions whether the justice system failed.
Mother Joyce came to visit. He barely looked her in the eye anymore. "Mom," he said quietly, "maybe this is it. Maybe this is all I get." It's 2004. David has been in prison for over 2 decades, most of his life spent behind concrete and razor wire. That's when he finally connects with someone who might change everything. A lawyer known for freeing the wrongfully convicted. His name was Hirsch Walsh.
His lawyers have collected 2 forensic opinions that criticize the evidence police used to build a case against him. Combine that with Ron Wilson's recantation, and Hirsch Walsh says the conviction should not be allowed to stand.
Put the whole story in a courtroom setting now before 12 people, and there isn't a shred of a case against David Milgaard.
If Justice Minister Kim Campbell decides to reopen the Milgaard case, she has 2 options. She can order a retrial, or she can refer it to an appeal court for a decision. Either way, the test becomes, is there a reasonable doubt David Milgaard is innocent?
He's calm, methodical. The first thing he does is meet with Joyce, the mother who's been fighting the longest battle of her life. Then he meets David. The visit feels like sunlight breaking into a cell. Lockyer begins reviewing the original case files, and what he finds is staggering. Witness statements that don't line up, evidence that was lost, and police reports that never should have been trusted in the first place.
And since then, Ron Wilson has come forward to say his testimony shouldn't be given any weight either, because he lied. He says he lied about seeing blood on Milgaard's clothes, lied about Milgaard having a paring knife. And as for the conversation in which Milgaard supposedly told him he'd hit a girl in Saskatoon, Wilson now calls that, quote, bullshit. He says at the time he was questioned, he was messed up on drugs, and police took advantage of that to plant a story. In his statement to the Justice Department, Wilson says he was coerced. Quote, "I was scared that if they weren't going to charge David with this, they were going to charge me."
We'd like to ask you about David Milgaard. Well,
No part of it.
Today, none of the officers involved in the original investigation will talk publicly. Not even the man Ron Wilson accuses of coercion. Privately, though, retired Detective Ed Karst says he did nothing wrong, and he welcomes a judicial review.
Piece by piece, he rebuilds the truth, the one that was buried under decades of failure. For the first time in years, Joyce sees her son smile. For the first time, David allows himself to believe.
This, we know he's innocent, and all of Canada is going to know it.
David Milgaard didn't stay anywhere. He left prison a free man. 2 days ago, the federal justice minister ordered a new trial for Milgaard on the recommendation of the Supreme Court. But today, Saskatchewan stayed the proceedings, saying a new trial is no longer feasible. David Milgaard has been waiting for this day a long time. Ever since the day in 1969 when he was arrested for a murder he says he never committed.
After 23 years behind bars, David Milgaard finally walks free.
If I'm not at home for Christmas, I'll probably run home for Christmas.
Oh, no, David, don't say that. No, David, don't say that.
All along, Larry Fisher claimed he wasn't guilty, that he had nothing to do with the rape and murder of Gail Miller. But after hearing the evidence, the jury found otherwise. Evidence that Larry Fisher lived only about a block from the murder scene in 1969. And perhaps most significant, evidence that Larry Fisher's DNA and no one else's was found mixed with Gail Miller's on her clothing.
I wonder what she would have been and where she would be and who she would be.
7 years after his release, the government awarded David Milgaard and his family $10 million. Milgaard then spent years campaigning for an independent review board and advocating for people wrongfully convicted.
Years later, Joyce passes away in 2020. David follows 2 years after.
David Milgaard died this weekend. He was 69.
To a situation where my dreams and my hopes and my family's aspirations were reduced to a couple paragraphs. A couple paragraphs saying there's absolutely nothing there to proceed with. If it wasn't for the country and the people in the country and my mother's running around after people persistently saying my son's innocent, I would never have got out of prison.